This is for the nerds, this is for the brainiacs, this what we deserve. Go ahead and play it back, you ain't gonna touch me, you not gonna do nothing, you are not above me, I bet you wish you was me, I know it, I know.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Only Friends podcast. I gotta tell you, today is gonna be a real shit show. We've just had two and a half hour pre-production meeting, perhaps, and we landed on exactly 0 topics.
It was mostly me trying to hide pubes in the thumbnail. One of these days, okay, you guys, this is a joke between me and you. So every time I make a thumbnail for this show, I try and hide pubic hair somewhere in it, and Berkey's job is to find it. But one of these times I'm going to get it through. We're going to get the bluff through of the pubic hair in the thumbnail, and then you'll know why it's there.
First of all, I just want
to... He doesn't hear us. Don't tell him.
I just want to say you are a tiny human.
What does that have to do with the pubic hair?
I don't know. Secondly, they probably deserve at least the backstory as to why this inside joke occurs or even exists and why I'm so against it.
Yeah. What is it?
I know what it is. You don't? You're just hiding pubes?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's from the Skolansky pod.
Yeah, but we actually did put the thumbnail that said loves pubes. So that did get you approved that one.
I took it down and switched it out for a non-pube loving thumbnail.
I mean, yeah. I also put pubes, like how his hand is like this. I put pubes dangling from his hand. He said no to that too. But one of these times, like, I'll catch him at a weak moment and we'll just have a full pube thumbnail.
That was how you got the initial title in for that one. It was we were running super late. I couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. We had done so much fucking prep. I just wanted to go live, and she's just like, "Come on, you got to give us something." Mm-hmm. I was like, "Fine, leave it." Loves pubes. Great.
Loves
I don't
pubes.
care.
You weren't even here, right?
No, I was in Pittsburgh. the glorious city.
I mean, that's something that I would do like without a backstory, though. To be fair.
Yeah, but then it's
Hide
not
poop or pubes or something.
You're a foul individual.
Funny.
What is funny about it?
What do you mean? What's not funny about poop and pubes hidden in a serious thumbnail? I take liberties as a designer.
Imagine if this is the hack. Like, the YouTube algorithm has just been searching for pubes all this time.
For all you know.
And the whole reason why we're actually starting to get a little traction is because Melissa's actually putting a microscopic picture of pubic
You've never
hair.
seen them in Brad Owens?
She's microdosing pubes.
Brad Owens thumbnails all have pubes in them.
Oh.
You haven't seen that? Yeah.
Allegedly.
Not alleged. Go check. There's pubes in every single one.
Oh man, shout out to my man Jay Chris in the chat, my best friend from back home. He is not doing his job right now. I guess they're off. It's 6:00.
What up,
Jesus
Jace?
Christ,
Yeah, it's late,
PM? Man, really
How was your
after
guys' day at work?
Oh, could you imagine 9 to 5s, poor bastards.
I can't imagine. I had one once.
Just like I can't imagine you with a child.
You know what? My kid would be so funny.
So funny.
Because it'd be traumatized.
Nothing but poop.
Gotta rough him up a little. Gives him a sense of humor.
He's gonna be like Lieutenant Doofy from Scary Movie.
I think that my kid would troll me harder than I could ever troll him or her.
That doesn't bother you?
No, I think it's so funny.
No, it's not. It's never funny when someone like younger than you that's supposed to show some deference to you is just always memeing.
Trolling?
Yeah.
I don't know. Because we would do it back and forth. It'd be like a fun thing.
You and your kid. That's going to be your rapport.
Yeah. And then like the husband can deal with all the discipline stuff.
I stand by what I said. You're not fit to be a mother.
The husband can deal with the discipline stuff, and I'll be hiding little turds in his room.
Jesus Christ.
You're like, are you shitting in your room? Just gaslight them to think they're shitting their pants every day.
Oh my God.
How? That'd be great, Mom.
How have you made it to 26?
By the skin of my teeth. Didn't think I'd make it here, but here I am.
Well, God bless. We do have a couple less disgusting things to talk about, I guess.
All natural.
First and foremost, F1 was just announced to be coming to Vegas in 2023. I believe that's correct, man?
November of 2023. Yeah.
November of 2020. Oh, wow. What are they going to do, man? That's going to be right
What
during
is
the...
F1?
Isn't that during the color run? I mean, come
Is
on.
that car racing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
It's really dope. Usually they do it in European countries, I think.
Yeah, this is only the third time it'll be in the United States. I think the previous 2 times were in
This is different
Austin
than
and
the one
Miami.
in Daytona or whatever.
Yeah,
This
that's just a track.
that's
that they just go
NASCAR. This
round
is
and
F1.
round. If you check out this image, it kind of gives you a better idea of like what we're looking at here.
Ooh.
So they're going to build a kind of like a street course that actually laps around the strip.
That looks really
Pretty dope. I'm going to plan to not be here because it's going to be a fucking nightmare to try to navigate anything within 15 miles of the strip during that time, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm staying far away.
I have a segment idea for today.
Go on.
I want to take over Andre's Twitter on the podcast.
And do what with it?
Comment on stuff.
Nobody follows him.
Like, man, I'd love to run naked around that track.
Why Andre?
It'd just be funny.
Nobody follows him.
Yeah, but they
Wow.
will after today.
everybody go follow
Andre is a
Andre.
legend.
Okay, let me take over Berkey's Twitter.
In his
then.
own mind?
Andre, what's your Twitter handle?
At Greytorp.
Oh, yeah, at Greytorp.
Nobody
go
knows what
follow
that
him.
means either.
Is it something backwards?
It's respectable.
Predator?
Who has the least amount of
It
followers?
is something
It's
backwards.
got to
Do
be
you know
me,
what it-
right?
Huh?
The least amount of followers out of everybody in the
For sure
group.
you.
Has
Go
to
out
be.
and follow like is it BR like 7?
That's it.
Hey,
BR
I see
like 7.
4
Give him a little bit
digits.
of love. Do you know what Andre's name is? It is something backwards.
Detour.
Pro tag.
Pro tag.
Neither one of those words mean
That's
anything
not
to
a
me.
word.
Well, Greytorp is not a word, and pro tag is this stupid fucking thing in StarCraft that Dan and Tyler just used to shout all the time. They'd have the audio cranked up while they play this dumb fucking game, and it's sitting there going, "We need more lesbian gas. We need more lesbian gas."
What kind of game is this?
Explain it to them, Andre.
Is this the
Tell
kind
them
that's
about
like,
the lesbian gas.
I bet you can't finish in 5 minutes. That's what Andre was pro gamer at.
It's Proturg, first off.
Whatever.
Proturg is Protoss, Terran, and Zerg all combined because I was a random player back in the day and I started to go professional. And it's Vespian gas, not lesbian gas.
Vespian, lesbian,
Sounds
like
the same to me.
at least one of those words has a definition to it. The fuck is a Vespian?
I mean, it's their made-up currency,
Mm.
their resource.
It's like
their,
money
their second
gas.
major resource. Maybe the most important. Question mark.
How long were you pro StarCraft? StarCraft.
I started getting pro 2008 in StarCraft Brood War, and then switched over to StarCraft 2 from like 2011.
This is like when my brother was doing pro gaming, a different game.
Yeah, we probably crossed paths because I was on the MLG circuit for a while.
Yeah.
At what point did they deem you unworthy to compete with them any longer?
When did they kick you off?
When did they make you a broadcaster instead?
2011.
Yeah.
Yeah. I chose that though
Chose that life.
because it was safer. Little did I know, back in like 2009, 2010, I was getting like 1,600 people watching me.
That's
then-
strong.
That's a lot.
On
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Justin
yeah.
TV.
No, on like live stream.
Like Twitch?
Yeah, but what was it streamed on?
It was called live stream. That's
Oh.
how back in the day it was.
Okay.
I switched over to Twitch, and it was like I remember DMing sponsors like 3,600 people watching, and
Whoa.
then I had this great idea to switch over and be a commentator instead of just streaming.
Yeah, you would have made bank.
Yeah,
That was
So you
like
hate
that
money.
was like the streamer come up that time period.
It was the mecca.
when
Yeah.
Ninja was coming up, and
Speaking of streaming or come-ups, in your opinion, do you think that there is still creative space in poker industry for streaming? Like, do you think this is a young aspect of content creation, or do you think we've kind of like hit some level of maturity where there isn't much unique things that can happen?
I don't think a lot can happen. The main problem with poker is that it requires so much like either pre-production or post-production to actually do interesting content, and that barrier to enter just makes it so unappealing. Like,
doesn't that make it super valuable though to
What
companies?
about like online poker streamers?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't require much pre-production or post.
I mean more so like, you know, I think
Stream
a big
games.
important part about like poker is the cards, the actual cards. And whether let's say you're playing online and you want to show cards, as soon as you put a delay on it, it reduces the amount of interaction that you have.
Right.
And that's a big problem, I think, overall with just, you know, getting people attached to streamers.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's not popular right now, but it's just such a barrier. And as soon as you make it go live, now you're threatening yourself
Yeah.
and giving more information. And if you're playing like 5K tournaments, it's a big deal. You can't do that shit. So
Don't you think that there's a lot of value add though to, especially if we see poker get more widespan legalized in America? Do you think that there's a lot of value add to curate these like stables of streamers, kind of like what Stars did? Because they hit a home run with Spraggy and Lex,
Easy with Aces.
Easy with Aces. Like, you know, they have this little core group that kind of matured in front of our eyes and has become probably the biggest driving force as far as either acquisition or retention goes.
Yeah.
In their marketing play.
They are the biggest. Like, Stars has the chokehold on biggest poker streamers by far.
Without a doubt. You know, the whole conversion mechanism has changed so drastically. It used to be we are renting eyeballs. So you put like some sort of ad out on Facebook or Instagram or Google, and you just try to convert, you know, 1%. But now the business model has changed where you built a conversion mechanism, which is the streamers, and then you invite them into the community because that community has a very high conversion rate. So now instead of it being 1 or 2% that you're looking for, you're looking at like a 40 to 70% conversion rate, which is unheard of generally in terms of like marketing. But now the barrier to enter is a lot different and a lot easier, in my opinion. You be a member of a community and a lifestyle brand rather than being, you know, you're putting in $100 into some random, you know, poker app and then it goes away. So I think it's great, but it is it's not direct marketing. It's like brand marketing to an extent, and people don't have the attention span, or rather companies don't have the attention span to generally put in enough money to see returns on the other side, because it's a long process.
Yeah, I guess that was the point that I was trying to make, is that for a lot of these companies that aren't, you know, like the old school blue chip companies like Stars, building a brand seems like pretty hypercritical. I think WSOP is probably the only current legalized brand that has that big leg up outside of Stars. And even Stars in the States probably isn't doing what they could be doing. I'm basically asking this because we don't see streamers from the States any longer. There's no real incentive for them. And I just wonder, I mean, I guess like ACR has the Stormers or whatever. But it seems like a big miss for sites like Global, sites like WSOP, sites like BetMGM, which is a party skin. They're already first to move in a market that's probably going to expand, and they're going to have to deal with these already established sites coming in like GG eventually, and Stars once they start to expand as well. They already have the model in place, right? Like Stars already has a well-established stream team. GG's building one currently. It seems like something that's worth investing in, but obviously it's difficult whenever you can't just go get a Lex.
Yeah, it seems like they have affiliates, but they don't really have that like core, like Stars, like you can just name who their team pros are because they are
Right.
like such faces of the company in streaming. But for Global, I mean, you see people shilling their affiliate codes and stuff, but beyond that, like you can't
Kind of same
name,
thing with ACR, right?
can't
Like,
name a face to it. Yeah, I mean ACR has a pro roster, but it's not the same type of branding as Stars.
right.
Yeah, so I have to be a little careful because I do know a lot more information than the public knows about this, and I've signed a lot of NDAs. I will say that Global definitely understands. I think that the people that run Global Poker are actually very intelligent and they know what they're doing. The American market is a little bit weird, right? Like, I think all of us have been waiting for the end of the Black Friday era to finally end.
Yeah.
And right now it is an attrition game. It's not a
Acquisition.
Yeah, an acquisition game.
Right.
And so until major legislation passes through, I don't think it makes sense for a lot of these companies to go out there and be so aggressive.
But
Because
to Berkey's point, like, shouldn't they start now though? Because like when these other companies come in, they're going to be taking the lion's share of it, like Poker Stars.
yeah, I don't think you're wrong, but at the same time, how much money are you going to burn into it? Like, Stars puts a lot of money into their stream team. GG Poker puts
I mean,
a
that's why
lot
it's
of
so
money
good, though.
into their stream team. And when we're talking about, like, you know, 6, 7, 8-figure budgets here for Global, I would assume, where they're mostly servicing North America, that is not super doable.
I
right?
mean,
Like,
to be fair, I mentioned Global, but they're not really technically one of the regulated sites. So they're kind of an outlier to the bigger pie of BetMGM, WSOP, Party US. And I'm sure we're going to start to see other ones begin to crop up as more and more states get legalized. To me, it's like those are big brands. You know, they're very well established. And yeah, I think you're right. It is an attrition game, and I've been hearing this for the better part of a decade from, you know, people that I know that are kind of in the inside track as well, where it's like they're pouring all their money into lobbyists, right? They're trying to lobby to get it legalized coast to coast because that's the greatest acquisition model that they have, is just bring in more states and more markets. But I do think that there's a lot to be said for kind of Conrad's point of starting now naturally and not needing to have such a high investment, right? So if you wait, say, 4 or 5 years until the market is getting saturated and but more open or whatever, now you may have to go out and hire a Lex and pay hand over fist for it, right? But if you start now, you could just get somebody like a Rampage young, way before he's a name, and you know, you just keep like what they did with Spraggy. You know, it's like I don't know what his contract looked like to begin with, but I'm sure his very first one was quite low, and now he's like built his brand up to something that's you know, really desirable and very highly valued by Stars.
And what Stars did, they elevated a lot of their personalities. You know, the big three, Finton, Lex, Spraggy, of course Tonka's in there now. Like, they did a really good job of just whenever there was something that involved the four of them, they really pushed that. You know, they put a lot of, like, they fought for a UFC belt. The I don't know how many of them, but at least 4 of them fought for a UFC belt, and it was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think, man, like, I know I'll say about Ultimate Poker because they're dead. Ultimate Poker back in, what was that, 2014? They're spending like low 6 figures on Facebook a month. Like, It was absurd.
I mean, but that's partly why they died.
Yeah. Well, they told me that they were getting a return on it, but again, you're renting eyeballs instead of buying them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the big problem. You need to build an arc, right? Like, one thing that I think is so important with companies these days is that you need to have people that are part of your lifestyle brand rather than just consumers, you know,
So
the traditional market.
This speaks a little bit further into what I've been talking about for the last couple of weeks whenever poker media and things like that come up. We see this massive hole in the marketplace where it's very clear, and actually it reminds me, I was on Brad Wilson's podcast, Chasing Greatness. I recorded it on Wednesday. It'll come out tomorrow. And we were talking about poker media. And they asked me, you know, basically like, what do I see as being the greatest hole in the marketplace now, and how could it be fixed? And I think what it is that when we look at the moneymaker era, that boom of 2003 to Black Friday, we had this massive influx of money from online operators who were trying to capitalize on a new market where it was ever expanding, right? So there was just natural growth taking place. You didn't have to pay for any sort of like, or sorry, let me rephrase. You didn't have to build any sort of growth into the industry. It was already there. You were just basically in an arms race for acquisition against your competitors. So they poured millions, tens of millions of dollars into, basically the most advanced technology that existed at the time, which was the advent of the whole card cam. So right around 2002, 2003, the whole card cam was developed. Simultaneously, online poker booms. And for that 10-year window or 8-year window prior to Black Friday, everything was funneled towards this new way to consume poker, right? But that's a very short time frame. And had Black Friday not occurred, we would still find ourselves in a very similar situation that we're in now. The only exception being there would be a lot more corporate money in the space that was willing to invest, as we kind of see a little bit in Europe, right? Black Friday didn't occur in Europe, but poker is still shrinking. So it's not as simple as like that Black Swan event being what crippled it. What actually crippled it is that the whole card cam was not as big of an invention as we'd like to believe it to be. So here we are now, 20 years later, and we're beginning to recognize that poker is not a spectator sport through the lens of the whole card cam. It was a nice addition, and it helped ladder the community forward and grow the space for some short period of time. But it's now old news, right? Like, it's not the way to consume poker. So if we recognize that we're trying to force this product, right? We're not allowing this product to evolve, and we're trying to force it into this old school lens because that's what was once desirable. We're seeing it even with the reboot of high stakes poker, right? What are they doing? They're bringing back cash on the table, and they're doing all these aesthetic things that we once enjoyed, and everybody's still just kind of like meh.
Yeah.
Because you can't go back in time. You can't bring back what once was whenever we've evolved past. So it's very clear now that the hole in the industry is coming from the media aspect of it, and the character building, the arcs, all of this stuff. So when I hear you talk about this, Andre, it's like everything you're saying about like creating lifestyle brands and the companies themselves kind of investing in that, it makes a lot of sense to me. We see it in a lot of other areas or industries, right? Like particularly like fitness and supplements, nutrition, all that. None of them call themselves supplement brands or nutrition brands or anything like that. They're all lifestyle brands, right? It's Ghost Lifestyle. Mm-hmm. All they fucking sell is caffeine.
Right.
Caffeine and protein. You know what I mean? It's like that's literally it, but it's Ghost Lifestyle, right? On it is developed by Joe Rogan and a couple other people, and like they sell like workout tools and supplements and all this stuff. It's On It Lifestyle, right? So everything is like leaning into this idea of like, let's not pigeonhole ourselves into one singular market. Let's have this ever spreading capacity to reach a bunch of other markets. And to me, what that signifies is a very clear opportunity for a third party to come in and just be that entity for whoever wants to license it out, right? A third party to come in and say, we have a stream team. We have a price and we have a stream team. We'll take care of literally everything. Tell us what you're willing to pay for us to market you for this contract length, right? And it doesn't just stop there, because that third party now is going to have to create these character arcs and develop these characters and make us care about their stream team, about their vlogger team, about their coaching roster, about their players. You know what I mean? Like, you have to build it out through all elements. And it's weird because companies like us are actually in a really great position to do this, but it's also just one of those things where it feels like such an impossible task to grassroot, right? Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the reason why those mainstay names from the early boom days And the reason why we're so nostalgic for that time frame is because there was billions of dollars being poured into it.
Yeah. Well, one thing that was pretty eye-opening to me was that clip that we looked at of Negreanu telling the hand history, because I always hear about, you know, pre-Black Friday this and that, and it was so great and it was so different, but seeing that actually really opened my eyes to how much more marketable poker used to be when it wasn't so technical. It was much more marketable to the layman who enjoys seeing a show.
Yep.
And a lot of that is a show. They're acting, you know, like they're acting their hands. Like they're not thinking like this unblocks this and this, but it's like they're acting to each other, and that's something that anybody can see and make a guess on, like, oh, I think he has it or I think he doesn't. And it's a lot less like marketable today. You're not seeing people's personalities come through on the table like it used to be.
Yeah, I think that what we've evolved into, though, is finding a lot of value in the thought process that takes place. And that's why streams are so compelling, because, you know, for hours on end, you're listening to a user show you what's going on, and then also explain to you in real time what they're thinking. And I think that that's like the novelty of Poker Out Loud. Like, I think that product itself scales. I think that there's a version of this, or there are many versions of this, right? There are versions where you monkey wrench it in such a way that it leans way heavier on entertainment than any other sort of value, right? Like if you make it 1,000 big blinds deep where you're playing nothing but bomb pots and the stand-up bonus game and 7 deuce, and like, you know, you just do all of these things that incite violence, then a lot of the commentary is now far less technical in nature and a lot more competitive, right? Sort of like when you mic up an athlete. And you just hear them like either joking with teammates or talking shit on their opponents. It's like, that's what it devolves to whenever you're just at a loss for strategy.
Right.
All you'll say strategic is like, well, my best guess is I could do this.
Yeah.
And that seems to make a fair amount of sense to me, but also like, fuck that guy's face.
Yeah. You have to lean on a lot of other stuff.
Right. And then there's there's a whole other extreme that's fascinating to the hardcores, where it's like you have really strong technical players that are playing a format that is well studied, call it 100 big blind, 2 blind, no limit hold'em, right? It's boring. It's like watching paint dry when you're talking about action, but it's so calibrated to the most studied that they're going to give you commentary that is sort of replicable easily replicated in a solve.
Yeah.
And that's a great learning tool.
Right.
There's a whole spectrum of in between, right?
Yeah.
Like you just get a lot of middle ground where it's like, okay, you add a third blind and then you add 3 rec players to 3 professionals and you kind of pit them against each other. You add interviews, you add, pregame. I don't care if they're constructed, even like where they're scripted, and you have like these rivalries built around each other. You have these narratives that start to develop, even like what you see in Hustler Live and Live at the Bike, where there are a handful of players who play so much against each other that certain narratives form around them. I think all of that scales. It just takes some overseeing body and a lot of cooperation. And the latter's the tough part, right?
Yeah.
Because you can incentivize cooperation with money, but it's hard to put the cart in front of the horse. It's hard to say like, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to find these 30 players that we find to be a lot, to offer us a lot of value, that we're going to curate narratives, story arcs, and we're going to build their brand. And in return, they're going to give us a great product, and we're going to give them each $100,000. It's like, okay, well, where the fuck is that money coming from?
Yeah.
Right? Like, is Netflix around?
Right.
Maybe, but it's tough.
I find those execs. Any Netflix execs in the chat?
I mean, it's not like they don't have the money.
No, it's sure. There's always money. It's pitching them on the interest. It's so niche that it's really hard to get out of the 4 walls of our community. And that's what it takes, right? Like going back to the boom, even though those online poker sites were obviously within the 4 walls of the poker community, because that's what they're truly casinos, right? And that's like one step removed, because now you're talking big business, you're talking big money. You're not talking at a low level of a 7-figure business or even an 8-figure business, right? Those types of entities can't shell out large sums of money for marketing purposes, right? Like the idea is generally that for acquisition and retention, you're willing to spend like 30% of your gross on marketing. And it's like, okay, say you're a $10 million company. That gives you $3 million to play with, right? But if your margins are say like 30%, you can't be burning your entire profit, right? So you have to find some happy medium. So maybe you have $1 million to spend. Well, now it doesn't get it done, right? Like now you're talking about really doing it at a low level where it probably doesn't take off. And that's kind of the issue, is that like we have a lot of great ideas. We have a lot of, and I'm not saying like we as in me, I'm saying like the community as a whole. We have a lot of great ideas. We have a lot of great characters. We have a lot of ability to expand. But what we lack is coordination at the top. And I don't think we're ever going to see that. So at some point, we have to find coordination in the middle. There are enough Solve for Why like brands in this space that if we were ever able to find common ground and pull our assets together to develop projects like this, I think that they end up being home runs, right? Similar to like when the micros came out towards the end of Black Friday. That was just a bunch of people, Jay Rosenkrantz and others that were creative, had a good idea, were able to collaborate together and then pull in collaborations from people like Full Tilt, their pros, etc. Right? They were able to pool all of these assets. And it was very timely. Obviously, if it happened 2 years later, post Black Friday, the idea never gets off the ground. And so that's kind of the issue that we keep running into, is that we all want the same end goal, but it seems like nobody's really willing to be the first one to take steps forward because it's such a risky endeavor and the payoff seems so unclear. And that's what grinds my gears.
I have hope, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting topic. That's a long way away from esports, but I do think like as an arena, they're a good ancillary arena to look at and see like who's doing it well. I also think there's a lot of room for this in like the fantasy or
sure.
like the daily fantasy space. Like currently, they have a lot more assets available to them than we do as poker because they have visuals, right? So like if you're talking about like daily fantasy, specifically like big companies like DraftKings and FanDuel, they have some coordination with the NFL and other major league sports. That in and of itself is such a massive leveraging point, right? Because these games are so visual by nature, and any access that they have to the athletes is second to none. Nobody else is going to be able to do this, right? So currently it's like all that really exists are podcasts, and they're generally heavy in strategy. But the second that they decide to take that next step and say like, okay, we have all these creators out here making podcasts, let's now make these podcasts more visual, right? Like let's give them the rights to use this footage. Then let's take it one more step. Let's make it collaborative with the actual athletes themselves, right? Let's give the perception of inside knowledge or insider information, even though it's not, no athlete's going to come on and be like, yeah, man, like we studied real hard this week. Like we have a big edge versus their number one wideout this week. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but like we got a scheme that, you know what I mean? Like they can say that, but it just doesn't mean anything, right? So like there isn't really insider trading in this instance, but once you get to that level where you start to find some level of coordination between the corporations, be it the NFL or the betting house, such as FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever, and then all of the players that lie in between, the media, the athletes, the owners, maybe not on a direct level, but at least from a permissive level. Once you find that level of coordination, you start to build a hierarchy.
I mean, we see that happen in the NBA, right? Kind of. Sort
of, to some degree, yeah. I mean, elaborate a little more, like what you're talking about.
It's just because a lot more sponsorships, like they started really promoting sports betting companies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And daily fantasies.
Yeah, MLB too. I'm pretty sure MLB, like they have those signs, those rotisserie signs that are behind home plate. I think that they have deals with FanDuel.
And
Definitely
I feel like
DraftKings, right? I think
DraftKings,
DraftKings,
and I feel like for a while they kind of shunned them out.
Oh, for sure,
yeah.
for sure. This is all part of the Wire Act being repealed. The fact that like, so the Wire Act is a part of the UGIA, which is what shut down online poker initially in 2006.
Yeah.
And all it was really saying was that banks were not allowed to do business with third-party entities that accepted bets, right? So it basically prevented anybody from doing any sort of electronic or phone-based bet because that was illegal. But that's now been repealed, and it's a state-to-state decision whether or not you're going to allow sports betting and poker and all these other things, right? The second that happened, obviously, everybody knows this is a $1 trillion industry. So, like, it wasn't like the MLB, NFL, and NBA weren't going to try to get their piece of the pie. Like, they see what's going on. This is literally like a free marketing tool to them, right? It's like, oh, not only is our sport compelling in and of itself in the purity of it, but there's this whole additional layer that's a fucking $1 trillion industry. All we have to do is work with the players in that industry, right? Just bring them on board. On board DraftKings, on board FanDuel, on board Caesars Sports, whatever. Like, just find relationships there, and we get kickbacks.
Yeah,
You
I'm
know?
actually surprised that it took them that long to actually do that. Because for so long, they tried to keep it separate.
What was the stigma, right?
Yeah, it was a stigma. I mean, with Pete Rose and the gambling, and they tried to keep everything separate. But how could you keep those two things separate? Like,
Right.
They're so intertwined. That, like,
I think fantasy football, maybe it originated with fantasy baseball, obviously, but I think like fantasy sports in and of itself, like, broke the glass.
Do like FanDuel and DraftKings, do they sponsor like athletes now or no?
That's a good question.
I don't think they do.
I thought they
I've
did.
never seen
I
any
only
like
think teams.
athletes in commercials or anything like that, right?
Like I only think yeah, I don't think I've ever.
I was
seen
under the
Like the
impression that
sports
they did.
themselves, right? So like they have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
deal with MLB and
Right, but yeah, so I'm not sure where those two major players lie, but I know like smaller DFS that like DFS sites that have come and gone were actually getting singular sponsorships from certain players. Like I remember there was one, it was called like Fantasy Draft, I think. I only remember this because like Dan had some affiliation with them, and they had a Carolina Panther. I don't remember who it was at the time. This is like 2017. But they had a Carolina Panther as like their main sponsor, right? So I don't think that there's anything gray about bringing athletes into the fold. And I think that like moving forward, this will become the new shoe brand, right?
Yeah, that's what I would think for
Yeah,
sure.
like it's a no-brainer. It's like,
Yeah.
of course, there's a simple reason why Nike was always the biggest sponsor, because every fucking athlete wears shoes.
Right.
So it's a no-brainer. But like now it becomes a no-brainer why DK or FanDuel become the biggest sponsors, because every sport gets bet on.
Right.
What do you think was the reason that what was the pushing straw that the push that broke the stigma of sports
Legalization, for sure.
Legalization?
I think fantasy sports set it up. I think fantasy sports set up the legalization. Like once fantasy sports became as popular as they were, I think it destigmatized betting as a whole, because people were just like, oh, like I'm not going to lose my house and, start banging hookers just because I'm in a fantasy league.
Right, because everybody was in a fantasy league.
Right.
Anybody who watched sports, like...
Right, you're not a degenerate for
vast
being in a
majority.
fantasy
Right,
league.
exactly.
But you're literally gambling.
Yeah.
Same thing with like March Madness pools. Everybody always segregated that from like traditional sports betting.
Right.
Like, you're going to do a March Madness pool, right? Yeah,
of course.
but you would
But
never
heaven
bet the
forbid
game.
you just like make a straight bet on the
Right,
game.
because you don't need a bookie for a March Madness pool.
Exactly.
You don't need a bookie
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
fantasy team, right? It was the black
It's
market
all
element
above
of
ground
it.
instead of underground.
Exactly. It was the black market element of it that I think stigmatized the industry so much. But once fantasy sports became so big and like gray market, that's now the stepping platform to legalization. We now repeal the Wire Act. Legalization starts to go through at a state-by-state basis. And now here we are, right? For decades, this has always been legal overseas, right?
Yeah.
You could always get offshore betting accounts.
Right.
20 years ago, you could get an offshore betting account. So it's like we're just slow to catching up. And I think that now that we're finally here, the dam's just going to break. right? Like we're just going to see this industry grow tenfold in the next decade for sure.
Hey, Melissa, you need to get into sports. It's just another way to degen.
Listen, I don't even need to learn about the sports. I just look at their faces. I've learned.
That's true.
Because you know what? I
Exactly.
lost every sports bet before that, but I've never looked at their faces.
Right.
So now I know what my strategy is.
We're all going to be coming to you next fall for hot tips.
I told you I'm accepting clients. It's not free.
She doesn't know it, but like as fantasy football season comes up, we're just gonna do like a week-long edition of Smash or Pass, and we're just gonna be putting athletes'
Yeah, they're
faces
gonna
on
be
the-
like drawing out the information from me.
Like she's not gonna have any idea who they are. Why is this random dude up? Just Smash or Pass.
What do you
Just Smash
think
or
about
Pass.
him? Do you think he looks like he's capable or? Yeah, but I think he's got some demons in his closet. He might get caught doing something this
Okay,
season.
so like an 8th rounder then?
Yeah,
Is that
yeah. I
what we're
mean,
looking at?
I don't know how much longevity he has. He might be in prison next year, like something like that. And watch, I'll be spot on. My face reads are second to none.
We'll have to run this by Matthew whenever you get him in.
Matthew,
Where
the
is
astrologer, if you're watching, come on in, or any astrologers in the chat. Come on in.
Please don't
And
start inviting random
I'm gonna
fucking
start
strangers.
posting onto spiritual and astrology Twitter and
Our
say,
address is...
yeah, come on by. We will bring you some barbecue. Well, it'll be I think a lot of them are like vegan and stuff, so it'll be vegan. And we will roast
As if I
Berkey's
couldn't
chart.
despise
tofu.
this whole like
It's
thing
like the
more.
antithesis of you.
It really is.
Yeah.
It truly,
love it.
truly is. Oh my
I honestly
god.
can't
The
wait
contrast is just chef's kiss.
Oh my god, myself. You know, sometimes I just sit around, like I just take a moment for myself, and I sit and I collect my thoughts, right? And I just take stock and look around at all your fucking faces,
Yeah.
and I say, how did you get here, man?
I tend to have that effect on people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck did I do wrong to get here?
Yeah, speaking about that, Andre, do you have that little segment we have planned? Let's see what we
I
got.
don't like any fucking curveballs.
You guys planned a segment?
I'm not okay with any curveballs. That was Conrad's idea. Melissa pitched me on something today. She goes, Conrad and I have an idea for a segment. I go, I'm out. I'm fucking out.
The best part about this, I don't even know what it is. I just said, an idea.
You don't know what it is?
I have no idea.
How do you not
did
know what it is?
Andre did the heavy lifting.
This is terrible. This is so terrible because like Conrad has terrible ideas and Andre has a terrible sense of humor, and
Oh
that
my
combined
God.
is going to be the worst
This is
segment
gonna
we've ever
be
come up
rough.
with.
All right.
We'll let the audience decide
Yeah.
that, Burke.
It's going to be rough.
Oh man. All right.
What is this?
I'm excited.
What the hell, man? What is this shit?
Okay. This is an easy one for
It
me.
depends what kind of sandwich it is,
What?
first of all.
Well, it's only ever going to be PB&J,
That's diagonal.
of course.
I mean, it's definitely a none at all.
None at all.
Yeah, I ain't got no fucking time to cut shit.
That's
I'm diagonal. I'm 100% diagonal.
Middle for like, why is Berkey just there? Middle for like anything that's like lunch meat stuff.
No. I'm just diagonal for all of it.
Yeah.
I can't believe you guys are ever cutting a sandwich. I actually
Middle
don't
for
believe that
grilled
you guys
First of all, if
I
you
don't
want to
believe
eat
that you're
around the
cutting a sandwich.
crust, diagonal is the play.
Middle for grilled cheese, but diagonal for PB&J.
Ew.
What do you mean, ew?
Ew. Like, why
Ew what?
middle?
Because it's better for cheese. Don't
This is-
ask questions. I don't make the rules.
You're a psychopath.
I'm diagonal. I'm with Burke.
You guys, the only person here that is cutting their sandwich.
What about in
Actually, Melissa.
I
might cut
haven't eaten a sandwich in
I cut my
Is
15
Lamanna.
years.
You
That's
are not cutting
true.
your sandwich
I've
if
seen
you were to
you
make
eat a grilled
one.
cheese.
I mean,
Okay, what about in 4 though?
Okay, but, like, smash or
cutting in
pass?
4. Smash or pass the sandwich? Depends what kind.
Not for nothing. You guys
What
are
the
all
hell's
wrong.
this?
So.
What the fuck is this?
That looks disgusting.
What's
I don't know what's on the right, but I wouldn't eat that if you
looks
fucking
like,
paid me.
This is a pork roll.
It looks like
That
fried
is
bologna.
definitely a pork roll. This
That's
is,
not
This is
food.
some South Jersey
This
shit.
is a pork roll sandwich.
This is definitely curated from Andre's mind. He's all
All
about
right.
the pork
It
roll
was supposed to
sandwich.
be
Taylor ham or whatever
Taylor
the hell
ham or
they
pork
call
roll.
it. Taylor ham or Canadian
We were-
bacon.
we
or
would've
pork
gotten that
roll.
one.
What I bring you guys tomorrow is going to be a lot more appetizing than that.
all right,
This is
next
making
one.
me nauseous. Next picture. It's
Oh.
Oh, it's a GIF.
GIF.
It's 100% a GIF.
GIF.
Jif?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Jif is like peanut butter.
But I think we talked about this before and it was technically GIF, but that's wrong. Like the guy who made it is like means it for it to be GIF, but he's wrong.
Well, yeah, he's right. Yeah. We
He
came to
just
that.
died.
Yeah, so
He just died?
The man
He
who
died. His
invented
opinion's
the
not
GIF
valid.
died.
Yeah.
Wow. What a
R.I.P.
genius.
What is this?
I hope he's being honored
What does
somewhere.
the background have to do with anything?
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we're getting this wrong. Maybe that was a peanut butter meme.
It's
Well, here you
crunchy.
go.
Well,
Crunchy.
here we go. Oh, this is easy.
Crunchy
This is
for
even
me.
Oh,
close.
100%.
It's definitely smooth.
Yeah, 100% smooth.
Give me that crunch.
Yeah, I'm
What?
with I'm
Crunch with some
smooth.
grape jelly.
No way.
Yeah.
Grape jelly!
That's
Now
not
we're
even-
fucking
that's not even
talking!
close.
Jelly.
That's of course.
Crunchy with grape jelly and diagonal
I said
cut.
Hey, grape jelly might be on there next. You don't want to.
one of my most popular
Get ahead of
tweets of
yourself.
all time was
I already know where this is going.
if you grew up eating strawberry jelly, I know all I need to know
Wow,
about
the
you.
two Asians like crunchy. Is that a thing?
Yeah, you guys eat fucking peanuts.
That's
Wait,
true.
I-
We do like peanuts.
For
Yeah.
what it's worth, I don't dislike crunchy. I just would.
We got,
I prefer-
we got a fence sitter here.
I would eat either one of those. It's
I'm not
just-
real pumped to
It's
eat
just that
anything.
if I had to choose, it would be smooth.
You just get
Alright.
peanuts stuck all in your. No,
I like the
don't want
texture.
that
It's a
crunchy.
nice
It's no
texture.
good.
Shower in
Night.
the daytime.
Definitely night.
Both.
Morning.
No, definitely night.
Neither.
Or
Definitely when you wake up.
Morning,
and
you
then
have your
No.
whole. You have to do shit.
not morning.
Daytime.
Not morning. I shouldn't say morning. I should say daytime. Yeah.
I don't like
I don't
going
shower
to
at
sleep
night,
with wet
like-
hair, so.
I shower before bed. Or like after.
Sometimes I mean.
But that's
once
'cause
in a
you
while,
work
You can
out
put me
and
down
stuff
for both
at
because
night.
I shower in the morning.
You're
and at night.
goddamn right I do, Melissa.
you work out later in the day usually.
It doesn't matter when I work out. I would still shower at night.
You would work out in the day, get all sweaty, do your day, and then shower at night?
Unless I had like plans to be somewhere important. Yeah.
Oh.
This isn't important.
I mean,
You worked out. You wouldn't shower before you came here.
no.
Wow.
Ew.
Well,
I would-
I mean, look at you.
I would still have
obviously.
pickleball to go
You don't
to.
even have sleeves on your shirt.
Well, because I'm going to work out after this.
You can't change your shirt.
No.
Jeez.
It's
I think there's-
summertime,
Those
baby.
Guns.
Hot girl
Sun's
summer.
out,
Let's
guns
go.
out.
So is this right?
That looks
Yeah.
about right.
Where am I at? Oh, I'm in the middle.
You're in the middle.
I like a daytime, like, start day shower
No,
and
I-
then
I
jazz
don't-
music.
I
The only
would
reason
be okay.
Conrad's in the middle is because he falls asleep before the sun sets.
That's true.
Wait,
Conrad's in bed by, like, 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, fucking old man
wait,
Connie.
time out. I take a shower in the morning and at night.
Oh,
What the
sure.
heck?
That's fine
But-
too.
No wonder there's so
Melissa.
much goddamn hair in the drain.
That's true.
Melissa, let's say like, you put in a hard day's work or whatever, you sweat a little bit, you
Yeah.
still go to sleep without showering?
Oh, yeah.
You're disgusting.
Oh my god, I
So-
can't do it.
Yeah. So if
I don't
I'm
care. I
Right.
wash
Do
my
it.
sheets. I'm not, you
right,
know,
if I'm sweaty or something like I'm feeling dirty, then I'll
sweat
shower
at night. So
before I go to bed. But yeah,
I usually sweat. Like, I sweat a lot when I sleep. So there's no point in showering before that. Like, it's just going to get sweaty in there anyway.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Mario
waking up moist.
Georgiev.
oh
He
nice.
Super chat us with $4.99. Appreciate you, man.
Okay,
Let's
the
go.
left
Mario.
is just get that out of here.
Deep dish is gross.
get that
or whatever
outta
the fuck.
here.
That's
Oh,
Chicago
I mean,
style.
Come on, man.
Chicago style.
New York style.
I
all day long.
appreciate it as a food item, but it's not pizza. It's a
I've never
pie.
had Chicago style, and I'm actually want
It's
to
not
try
good.
it. But you know, it's New York all day.
You listen.
It's not even close.
Chicago style pizza it's fine. It tastes good, but it's just not pizza.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah, no,
it's not really
it's
pizza.
its own
like
thing.
yeah, it's its own thing.
It's like
Right.
a savory pie.
It doesn't taste bad. I mean, it's sauce and bread and cheese. How could it be
Somebody
bad?
wrote peanut butter is the devil's toothpaste. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
disgusting.
All right, I'm in the middle. They have some really good deep dish here in Vegas.
Really
I've had
weird.
it
Amore?
here.
Yeah. Amores,
Amores is good. Yeah.
Taste of Chicago.
Yep.
And they have Grimaldi's is okay. There's one on Sahara. I can't
It's
think
too
of its
heavy
name.
for
Chicago
me.
Brewing Company.
It might be that. No, I don't know.
I can't believe we have 11 votes and it's 55-45 strawberry. This
Well,
is
people are rich, man.
it's absurd.
What do you mean?
All
Rich
right.
people like strawberry?
Yeah. That's why I said if you grew up eating strawberry jelly, I know
did
all I
grow
need
up
to know about
eating
you.
strawberry jelly, but I prefer
It's
grape.
literally how much more expensive was it?
Zero. It's not costing. It's what's offered to you because of government assistance.
Oh.
Just like you get the cheap fucking cheese, you get grape goddamn jelly.
I'm
Wait,
pulp,
how is
pulp
it
all
offered
day.
to? What do you mean it's offered to you?
So
When you
at
go
least
to-
back when I was a
Food
kid,
stamps, I guess.
when I was a kid, you got food stamps, but
So
also
you're saying you couldn't buy strawberry jelly with the food stamps?
no, you could, but like there were certain items I believe that were discounted, similar to like the way the WIC program works.
Okay.
And you would just get like the trashiest shit, like government cheese
Of course.
and
Yeah.
grape jelly.
Yeah.
Government
So grape
cheese.
jelly was discounted, so it was cheaper.
well,
It was cheaper if you were.
it was
if
more
you were-
accessible.
if you were-
I don't know if it was cheaper or not. It was just more accessible.
Jace is yelling two-parent income. That's all I know.
Yeah, 100%.
All I know is
100%,
Jace
man.
is yelling that.
You ate strawberry jelly, you had a 2-parent income for sure. 100%, man. That is absolute fact. Jace knows this motherfucker used to eat sugar sandwiches. He knows what's going on.
He wants you to talk about the Book of 20s.
Oh,
I don't know what that is, but that's what he
Okay.
wants you to talk about.
the Book of 20s is, every month. This is way before the EBC card, which I don't even know if that's what it's called. But like now you get food stamps it's all digital, right? But back in the day, they would literally mail you a physical booklet of of currency. It literally looked like Canadian money. And you would like tear it out of this booklet, right? And it would come in multiple denominations because unlike cash, you could only exchange it for other food stamps, right? Now, the exception to this is change. They had food stamps that started at $1 and went up to like $50, but they didn't have change. So
the exploit.
yeah, so you would get like a book of 20s in food stamps, right? And you would go and you would buy something for like $1, and they would give you back like 4 $1 food stamps, a 5, and a 10. And then you go back through line and you'd buy a 25-cent pack of gum, and they'd give you 75 cents back. And then you do that again, and you get another 75 cents. By the way, this is how my mom bought cigarettes. She would just she would just be washing the book of 20s into change so she could go get cigarettes. Also, by the way, they had no qualms about selling a 12-year-old cigarettes back in the 80s. Like you could just go to the pharmacy with a fucking note from your mom that said, I need a pack of Marlboro Lights, and hand it to the pharmacist, and be like, all right, here you go. And you're paying in goddamn nickels and dimes because you're shaking out the couch cushions. But Jason and I, we used to take the book of 20s, and obviously we would buy a very nutritious meal of M&M's, Little Debbie snacks, and chocolate milk. But
Star Crunch.
Star Crunches were the nuts. But we loved baseball cards, and there was a card shop on the corner right across from the IGA. So we would just like routinely go to IGA and buy all this fucking gum one at a time, like to the point where they knew what was going on and would yell at us. Like they would limit our transactions. Also, you couldn't spend food stamps everywhere. It was like only at grocery stores. Like if you go to the pharmacy, they're like, get the fuck out of here. We need cash. So, we would go through and we'd try to get all this change built up. And then we would either take it to school and buy icy juicies at lunch that were 25 cents each. There were these like little pyramid-looking popsicles.
You literally sound like you're telling a story from like the 1940s.
Well,
Back in my day, we used
This
to
is
pay
what being poor
a
did
penny
to
for
you.
a popsicle.
I mean,
You
it
don't
was,
know what it's like. The struggle was
It was
real.
the
I don't.
1990s in Leechburg, Pennsylvania. So
yeah, same.
Like the 40s.
Still like the 1940s,
Same.
Yeah.
But if we really got ambitious and saved up, we'd get like $5 in quarters and go to the card shop and buy a few new packs of Topps or Donruss or whatever, and build the collection. This is how I got all my Barry Bonds cards, one at a time for the book of 20s. Ain't no joke.
how you built your bankroll.
Yeah.
That and some weird arm skin test.
I donated.
medical experiments.
I donated to science.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I don't know why it was the icy juicy that reminded me of this. I won't tell the actual corollary icy juicy story.
Thank you.
There is a story involving Lamanna, a girl, and an icy juicy. I'll leave it at that. You let your imagination take care of itself.
What the hell?
Oh man, so good. But no, we were in like 9th grade. God, you were such a fucking asshole. I should have kicked your ass when I
You
had
would
the
have
chance.
never kicked my ass. You would have been on the ground bleeding.
Honestly, at this point, you were still. I'm still friends with you, and this was hilarious to me. But like, man, just thinking back of some of these memories, you absolutely had it coming.
No.
So-
Oh my God. Listen, you were the biggest asshole.
Yeah, it honestly.
Well, I was definitely
from
an
what
asshole.
I've heard,
Yeah.
it sounds like you were the asshole.
I was a prick. I was a prick to like. Yeah, I was a prick in general because like I was trying desperately to fit in, but Lamanna was just like an overarching asshole, like because he always wanted attention on him.
Yeah, that's true.
So we're at lunch one day, and it was when you got those like little cartons of milk.
I just realized this story. Yeah.
And somehow, the geniuses we are, we figured out that if you fold the top over and put it upside down on the floor and step on it, it pops
explodes.
really fucking loud,
Like, yeah,
right?
because you're in the cafeteria. It's
And,
just
you know-
echoes off all the walls.
Right.
So to set it up, like our school was very small. We had 6th through 12th grade all in one building, and it was maybe a grand total of like 300 people. So there was only 2 lunch periods, and like you're mixed with like 6th grade to seniors.
Yeah, there's
in
like
these lunch
18-year-olds and 11-year-olds.
Yes.
Seventh, I think. Seventh.
Or yeah, seventh grade. So yeah, you have like 13-year-olds and 18-year-olds all in the same room. So we're in 9th grade. We're 15-year-old, 14, I guess at the time, whatever. And Lamanna's, we're like in the back corner where we're a little hidden from the monitors. And there's 150 fucking people in this tiny little cafeteria. It's probably the size of this room. And he takes a milk carton and he pops it. And, gets a good laugh. We're all assholes, whatever. And then he takes another one and he puts it down. And this kid, Alex McKim, who was a junior or a senior.
Yeah, I think he was a senior.
Yeah, I think he was a senior. So he was
Maybe
like 18.
junior, but we
were like 13,
He's
whatever.
significantly older than me.
And
yeah.
his nickname was Booby. And I don't know why. I just felt like
Another
Oh
one.
my God.
Everybody had a nickname.
Hold on.
All right, everybody had a nickname.
So we've
There was
got
Booby, there was
Yeah.
Putty, there was...
we've got John Baloney. We've got Gumby.
Skimpy.
We've got Booby. And we got Patrick the preacher's son.
Listen,
Right, yeah.
Skimpy.
listen, LHS was like the mafia back then. Everybody had a
That's
nickname.
right. There was a hierarchy. It was very clear. So he sets the milk carton down to do his thing again, right? And the seniors table is like right in eye shot with us. And McKim stands up. By the way, very unassuming person. Like he was a bigger kid.
I think you're missing a couple details. So like this went on for a few days, right?
Oh,
What I
yeah,
was
that's
doing-
right.
It went maybe like a whole
Every
week.
day you
and
were
like,
popping
He
milk?
was just, for some reason, he just got so annoyed that I was doing this. Right?
I
And I wonder why.
I
wonder why.
For
It
some
wasn't that
reason.
annoying. It was just a loud banging sound every once in a while. So right. But so like, oh wow, this guy's getting annoyed, so that makes me want to do it more, right?
Right, of course.
And
so
that's just how I was.
So to like set this up a little bit further, like Alex was like a very shy, unassuming kid. Like he used to literally walk around with his hands in his pocket and his head down, like looking at the ground.
Yeah.
But he was a big kid. He
You
was
don't
a
get
lineman.
on that kid's bad side, by the
Right.
way.
Well, yeah, of course. He's a psychopath.
Yeah.
Probably fucking
Yeah.
murdered small kittens. I don't know. But he was like a football lineman, so he wasn't small. And Lamanna sets this carton down to do his thing again, and he just gives them the look like, don't fucking do it. And Lamanna looks him right in the eye and goes, I'm going to do it. And he looks back at him and he goes, don't fucking do it. And Lamanna goes, So Alex walks over to him, and it was honestly just like the Chris Rock thing. No
It
joke.
was a 1-2. No, it was not like
no,
a Chris Rock
it was
thing.
like it in the sense that like you're literally laughing, looking
I'm
up at this
laughing
kid
in his face.
because there's no way in hell he's gonna do anything about it. Like
Yeah.
he's 18 and Lamanna's 13. He just popped a milk carton. Like
And he
nothing's
just
gonna
gives
happen.
me the 1-2.
He-
boom, boom,
boom,
boom, right in the face. It shut me up.
Builds character. It builds character.
The worst part of all, Mr. Shoddy, who was like Lamanna's fucking neighbor,
It wasn't my neighbor, but
wasn't far away.
no, but
It was
he's
definitely like a
definitely-
he was like a fan of yours because you
Yeah,
guys
we
were
were
both full-blooded
buddies.
Italian and like he had that little
Yeah,
bond, whatever. Of
course.
He sees the whole goddamn thing, sees the whole fucking thing, and just like turns his cheek.
yeah.
And we're in like social studies or
The
whatever.
same thing happened to Alex McKinnon that happened to Will Smith, which is nothing.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Not one consequence, nothing.
Right.
But like, I had it coming. Like, I'm not saying I didn't have it coming, but like, he probably should not have done that. And there should have been some sort of consequences.
He warned you.
What?
He warned
He
you.
did warn him,
He did warn me, yeah.
Yeah.
and
I
he
did
followed.
not
And you
heed that
dared him
warning.
to do it.
I did not heed that warning at all.
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember we were in like social studies or whatever Shoddy taught us, and he's just like busting Lamanna's balls for like getting 1-2'd in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you're my fucking teacher. You saw the whole thing.
You're right, it was character building.
That's great.
Oh man, there was another one where we had pre-algebra with all of our teachers were fucking Italian.
Mr. Guido.
Mr. Guido, we called him Speedo Guido. Like he was that teacher that we
Literally,
just
his name was Mr. Guido.
yeah, it really was. He was that teacher that we like just all knew smoked pot. Like we were just positive of it, you know, it was one of those things. And so like he was pretty chill about stuff. But Lamanna could take anybody to the fucking edge. And I think we were like watching Lion King or something in pre-algebra. Like it's something very or whatever. Maybe he was just like giving back talk or whatever. And Guido used to take, this is old school, like we had the green chalkboards and shit. So he'd be up there writing his pre-algebra out. Lamanna would crack a joke and, you know, he'd take his wet sponge and fucking wipe the board down. So one day he throws the sponge, bigs it right off Lamanna's forehead. That's not good enough. Somehow he ends up putting him in a garbage can.
This actually happened to me, and it didn't happen to me, but in my 3rd grade class, this happened. A teacher, it was my favorite teacher ever, but he would do stuff like that, and he did put a kid in a trash can.
Right in the trash can.
He was annoying.
The funny part is like these trash cans weren't like big tall trash cans. They were those little metal ass trash cans, like fully metal.
Green.
And Mr. Guido's a small guy. He lived up to his name. He was literally like 5'6" maybe. Just whoop right over his shoulder. Fireman carries him.
They can't do stuff like that anymore. It's
Yeah.
no fun.
That was so long ago.
No fun.
Man, things used to
I
be
know,
so much more
like
fun.
the popsicles were a penny. Can you believe it? Crazy. Inflation from the
25
40s.
cents, okay? They were 25
Berkey
cents.
was actually, fun fact, Berkey was around when baseball was invented.
Fuck you. Oh, man. I remember another time I got my ass kicked. Some kid stole my baseball glove, and I ran up on him and like bear hugged him, thinking that somehow that would make him go get my
You
glove.
hugged him?
I was like 3 times this kid's size.
Okay.
His nickname was Memphis.
You just gave him a nice, you gave him a little cuddle.
His nickname was Memphis.
Memphis, Gumby, Guido. I mean, Jesus.
Like I just wasn't looking for a fight. I just wanted to go get my fucking glove. So I like ran up on him and I like squeezed him like I'm gonna like squeeze the life out of him or whatever. And he fucking headbutts me right on the side of my face. My whole face just swells up like a basketball. I go to school the next day and Shotty's just like, got the shit kicked out of you by Memphis, huh? Little Memphis beat the fuck out of you, eh?
Hey, the little ones are scrappy.
Yep.
Can't doubt the little ones.
Like, this asshole throws my glove on a roof and then headbutts me in the face, and I'm the one who's like getting in trouble or whatever. Oh man, good times, elementary, fun stuff.
Yep.
Fun stuff.
I got so many fights I didn't win. I didn't win.
You
a
beat
single
up Brian
fight.
Kashubsky pretty good, I think.
I one punched him.
Yeah, that was all it took.
I one punched him right in the fucking nose.
Do you think kids are still doing that? Because when I was in school, that was always a thing. Like, oh, so and so is gonna fight this
I think
person
there's
after
way
school.
There
more
has to
complicated.
be.
I think there's more what I'm thinking of
Conflict.
no complicate or I can't think of-
Consequences?
sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
Consequences for like fights now.
Yeah, like
right?
people are a lot
Like,
more sensitive now.
Yeah, it was like when we were
But-
kids, just like it was a rite of passage just to get in
Yeah,
fights and
I
get
was
beat up
trying
and-
to pick fights.
Yeah.
No one would do it. I was like, I'm gonna fight that girl,
Yeah.
but it was just never a thing.
Yeah,
was
there
always just-
we used to have girl
I
fights
wanted to
all
be
the
violent.
time.
I had a lot of
Yeah.
repressed anger I was trying to get out, and no one would fight.
There was a fight in the cafeteria, Burke. Do you remember? I can't remember the 2 girls' names, but
Cheney and
no, this was
the Cheney fight was incredible.
maybe it was Cheney.
We saw boobs. Yeah,
No, but
it
like,
was.
it was literally
This is the first
fight
time
went
Berkey
on.
saw
Yeah.
boobs.
Literally everybody in the cafeteria like got up from their seats.
Oh,
It
no,
was
no,
a
that was a
giant
different
arena,
one.
right? It was like literally like these 2 girls just
That was
throwing
Dawn or
blows.
whatever her name was.
Dawn,
Yeah. Mrs. Salka got punched in the face.
Oh my god! One girl got her head banged right off the radiator.
Oh
That
man, there was
like,
so
the
many
end of
good
it.
girl fights. Holy shit, I forgot about that.
It was crazy.
Yeah, Cheney fought some other hot girl. I can't remember who it was. It was between the cafeteria and the school, and they got like into a fight somehow, like on the walkway or whatever. And Cheney's shirt got ripped off. It was fucking incredible.
Jesus.
And then there was another one. I think it was like Cheney and Brandy Saber actually that got into the fight between the cafeteria. But then there was another one that happened in gym class that none of us really got to witness, but apparently it was a fucking bloody mess. Like one girl just got beat so bad there was just like blood all over the wall.
God. So wild.
Respect.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that stuff still happens
Throw
today.
down.
but now like a gun or a knife gets pulled or
Yeah,
some other
and
fucking
also it's all
nonsense.
like on phones, so the kids are getting in trouble, and it's like
I'm literally
meh.
looking through my email right now. My nephew got into a fight his senior year in high school, And he sent me a video of it. Like, you know how it was. Fights were always organized. Like, for us, it was like, I'll meet you down by the walking bridge
no,
at
for
3
us
p.m.
too. And there were the spectators would organize around
50
it.
of us,
Yeah.
maybe more.
Yeah.
Berkey and I were supposed to fight at Melissa's birthday party.
Yeah.
We were supposed to
that
fight.
drew
We
quite a
did
crowd.
This year,
We reenacted it
this
in
year for
Origins.
my birthday party, we can reenact it. You guys can fight.
And then she can tase the loser.
Yeah,
we
the
could.
loser gets tased.
I don't.
Loser
Someone's getting
gets
tased.
Berkey
Okay,
was
I
a
gotta
lot more
use it.
scrawny in high school.
I
Okay.
was.
He was like
I was not pushing weight.
and I was like, playing football and
Right.
lifting weights.
Yeah.
Taking
It's opposite
steroids.
now.
That's why though you pushed him to overcompensate.
Exactly.
Now.
Yeah.
He's like,
It's
oh
true.
man, I almost got my ass kicked by the man. I better start.
Yeah.
I'll try to find it maybe for a future episode, but my nephew sent me this video of him and this kid who got into a fist fight. He actually might have been a junior and the kid was a senior, but this kid was just relentlessly picking on my nephew. And my nephew is trained in karate. So like he is very well equipped to defend himself, and he like brushed it off, and finally this kid wanted to fight. And there's this video of them fighting. It is so unnerving to watch, but also there's a little part of me that's like proud papa. Like he's just sitting there in a defensive stance the whole time, and the kid's like swinging recklessly at him, and he's just ducking, and then blap! And then they like square back up again, and the kid's like swinging recklessly again or whatever, and my nephew like moves and just like kicks him right in the face.
That's great.
And the kid's just like, all right, I'm done. And then they like dap up, give each other a hug, and go their separate ways.
Yeah, it always ended in the dudes were just like, all right, nice. And then they
Yeah.
were like friends after that.
Yeah, it's wild.
After
That's what-
beating
that's
each
what
other
boys do,
to like
yeah.
almost a pulp.
Oh, I
and
never
they're
felt that
fine.
way. I like went home and cried. I got my ass kicked
I
every
would-
single
I
fucking
would
time.
cry. Like that's like intense.
I don't think I ever saw like a high school fight that didn't happen 4 more times after.
Yeah.
Like it was always.
Fighting and
Yeah,
fighting.
yep.
and
it-
fighting,
you just-
3
you're
rounds,
not
4
allowed
rounds.
to. You're not allowed to lose. You have to fight again.
Yeah. If you're
Honor,
losing, you're right.
honor culture.
Yeah.
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 You gotta
Yeah,
honor
it's
the
so
reputation.
different growing up being a girl. Like the fights are way more subtle, and like it's like you're talking shit about each other and like stabbing each other in the back and stuff. It's there's a lot of manipulation and stuff. It's not just like let's aggress at each other. It's like I'm gonna turn all her friends against her and then make her hate her life. Like, it's like very. It's almost scarier.
that
I
is
prefer to get my ass kicked than get in a fight with a teenage girl.
I thought you were gonna go somewhere else whenever you said stab. I was like, Jesus Christ,
Stab.
Melissa. Or you go stab them in the back or whatever. But
Oh,
I thought you were
no,
going somewhere else with
no,
that.
there was
Not literally.
none of that. But I was not a nice girl growing up.
Strawberry's crushing it.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you're wondering about our
Man.
demographics.
Yeah, they're
Strawberries.
rich. How do you
Guys,
think they
you
pay
guys
for all
should-
this poker training?
If you're not already, you should sign up to Software TV, softwarey.io.
Also, we are looking to get a new camera for me.
Mm-hmm.
Not this one, but when I'm back over there. So
We
I'm
have
not-
one. We have a permanent fix. Conrad's camera is good.
Yeah, but it has no battery. For me.
No, it's fixed. Well, the package got delivered. I just don't know to where.
Okay.
You didn't check the mailbox, did you? Yeah, you didn't even see the message. Yeah, that's fine. Yep, Conrad sells me a shoddy fucking camera that doesn't work, turns off after an hour, and then we finally find a fix for it, and I ask him to pick it up, and he's just like, nah, I didn't see that message. We were Dutch bros, man.
I don't know what you're
Traffic.
talking about.
Traffic was busy.
Traffic
and-
was nuts today. You should have
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah, I
Conrad's
know.
texting the group chat 15 minutes late, traffic, and I'm literally sitting behind him and he's in a robe eating like takeout.
At the kitchen table.
And then
are
had
you
the
fooling?
balls to stop for more takeout on the way here. Like, Jesus, man, we got a job to do, you know?
Listen.
That's all right.
That's not why the podcast went off.
No,
No.
we're brainstorming.
Yeah. You
No, it went off late because there were pubes in all the fucking thumbnails.
I mean, that's hilarious.
But Conrad knew. He's like, I got at least 45 more minutes.
Yeah, this is the worst.
He is usually here early. I will give him that much.
All right. We're continuing with Conrad's segment.
Oh, okay.
There's more.
Oh, yeah. Wait, we're still.
There's more.
Let's go.
Pulp.
No pulp.
This is
Pulp.
absolutely pulp.
I
You don't-
love pulp. I
some
love
pulp,
the
yeah,
crunchy.
some
Give
pulp.
me the texture. And
Oh,
Listen, if you were
it's more
to know,
nutritious. You got more
Oh.
fiber in there.
shut the fuck
You,
up.
yeah, but you like beige food and like you eat like 3 items.
I don't care.
So
It's
of
definitely
course you
pulp,
like
and it's
a
not
no
even
pulp.
close.
Yeah, I like pulp. I'm
Pulp
on
is
the
Just
pulp.
eat a fucking
Good.
orange.
No, it's
Sure.
good. The
Whatever.
more the better. I like the really chunky ones.
Oh my god.
Extra pulp for me.
Undateable.
What? That has nothing to do with dating.
Look at this.
If
Look,
anything,
look at who's the
if anything,
undateable
that
one
should be
here.
a positive for dating.
Wow.
There was an episode of Sopranos where like where Tony's fighting with Carmela and she's like he's mad at her because she didn't get pulp or something. She's like you don't like pulp. He's like no, I like some pulp.
Pulp's good.
which is true. It's like too much pulp is like it's a little
more the
overbearing.
better.
But some pulp, it's perfect.
Oh man. I was a side sleeper. I've unfortunately turned into a stomach sleeper who wakes up with neck pain every day.
Funny, that's the exact opposite of me. I was a stomach sleeper, and now I'm a side/back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I usually
I think
fall
that's
asleep
what
on my
I am.
back, and I'll switch to my
I
side.
hate that I'm,
I'm
a stomach
side.
sleeper.
Yeah, I'm side all the way.
I'm definitely. a side
You know what?
back.
I nap on my stomach
Who
because
sleeps in fetal?
Oh, I mean, after
may have
some
when I was a
losing
little kid.
sessions, let me tell you. Fetal.
I don't like
Stomach would
sleeping
be-
on my
you
stomach.
sleep stomach?
Yes, and I hate it, but I always end up I can't fall asleep otherwise.
it's funny. I nap on
couldn't
my
fall
stomach
asleep.
because it's less comfortable, so I'll wake back up.
I like the having the pressure on my
Yeah,
chest.
I agree with
It's
that.
comforting. Maybe I should get a weighted blanket though.
All right, last one.
Hit us. This is even close. This is even close.
Oh my god.
Berkey makes fun of me, but
First
I'm
I thought-
actually a
first
phone
I
call
thought
person.
When I
Wait.
first saw that, I thought it was iPhone versus Android.
Oh, that's what I thought it was too.
no,
Yeah,
it's,
no.
it's do
It's
text
It's
or
phone versus
call.
text?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I
Text.
hate people who fucking use the phone.
Well,
That's
here's the
me.
problem.
I
We
love
can't even
phone
answer
calls.
Why
this.
do girls like talking on the phone so goddamn much?
I don't know. It's fun.
We can't answer this.
We can talk
There's
about
two
drama.
fucking iPhones on this screen.
Yeah, you're right.
We can't answer
No,
this.
you're
This
right.
is
You guys
this,
are
get
so
these green bubbles
elitist.
out of here.
Yeah, get,
What the fuck
I need
is
an
this?
Android for sure.
We need an Android.
I think, yeah, I'm finding more and more females in my life who enjoy the phone conversation, and it takes every ounce of my energy to muster it
We can
up.
talk on the phone for hours.
I just, wow, that was me in high school actually, but we
Yeah,
didn't have texting.
Chatting.
I would literally come home from
Chatting
school and just
shit.
immediately get on the phone for like 2 hours.
Yeah, I used to do that with my first boyfriend ever in 6th grade.
Aw.
We talk on the phone.
And then you lost your virginity.
No, not in 6th grade. That was a few years later.
I mean, the reason Michelle and I made it as long as we did is because she doesn't like to talk on the phone.
Yeah.
No, because like we lived across the country from each other, but like at her job, like she would be on the phone like all day talking to patients, and like the last thing she wanted to do when she came home was talk on the phone, right? But we text. She liked to text, so I'm like, that's perfect for me because I don't like.
Yeah,
talking
you get
on
to
the
stay
phone.
in constant communication and space it out over
People
the course
couldn't
of the day.
believe that we're like you have a long distance relationship and you guys don't talk.
Do you
on the
remember
phone?
the-
like no,
the-
but we text constantly. So
Do you remember the conversation this spurned?
oh, with Jenny.
With Jenny?
Yeah.
So one of my best friends from home, we were having Christmas Eve at Brian's place, and he was telling her about Michelle. They were pretty new at that point. And
First year, yeah.
he was like, yeah, we don't talk on the phone. And she was appalled. She's like, what? How could you ever have a relationship that doesn't involve speaking on
She's
the
like,
phone?
you guys are gonna be done in a month.
Yeah. And like, so I obviously then start making the case for sexting because it's just like, well, of course, this is just way,
You might
way
sext
better.
more than anyone I've ever met.
I don't know what you're talking about. That is absolutely fundamentally false.
Benji's attention.
But we go down this path of like calling versus texting or whatever, and LeMan and I are laying out the case for texting, and it's so obvious to us. It's like just abundantly clear that this is superior, and she's just pushing back really, really hard. So like a year later, she's in a relationship, and she's just like, I tried the texting thing, and I got to tell you, it's incredible.
I don't know. It really depends on
We
the
just
person.
said nudes all day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, it depends. But to me, I get distracted and I'll forget to answer, or I just don't really want to carry on a
I've
conversation.
been a part
in
of too many of your
text.
phone conversations as a third-party eavesdropper.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, like,
How much
that's
have you
insufferable.
learned about like the female brain from my conversations on the phone? They're always on speaker too. so.
It's like watching insanity happen before your eyes.
Well, we're switching topics like every 30 seconds.
They're only
or
paying
so.
30% attention to one another.
Yeah,
and
we're
nobody
scrolling
ever,
on Instagram while
Yeah.
we're talking.
No
We're
one
like,
ever
oh my God, let me
stops
send you
talking though.
this.
Like
No.
it's insane to me.
Well, me and Nicole are both talkative as
true.
fuck. So
But you're not paying attention to one another. Like literally,
just sorta talking.
you're trying to find a show on TV while scrolling through TikTok
Yeah.
and talking at the exact same time.
Yeah.
It's just like, how is your brain fragmented this way?
I wish I could explain to you what it feels like to be in my brain, but it's literally there's 12 TV channels.
I
all
actually
around.
envision a monkey with cymbals.
Yeah.
Just walking
no,
and
but there's-
clapping,
there's
and then
multiple.
another one appears and has a triangle.
Yeah,
and
and then-
he starts chiming in, and
and-
then a third one appears
right.
with a banjo.
No, but it's never that synchronized. It's all over.
Sure.
I think there's definitely a monkey dropping shit in between.
We're all cylinders. One's throwing shit in the corner. The other one's just screaming,
right.
panicked.
I feel like your brain is similar to that of the hormone monsters in Big Mouth.
yeah.
Where they're just either jerking off or angry.
Yeah.
Rage,
That's me on my
fucking
period.
rage.
No, that's on my period for sure. Yeah.
That show is
On your period, you're just jerking off or you're angry.
Exactly. It's one or the other, and there's no in between.
That
Oh,
show
man.
is so not me, and it is one of the funniest things I've ever watched.
There's
I
a
love that show.
spin-off of it.
Yeah, I saw it. I already watched the entire season. It's brutal. I get through them in a day, and it's so sad to me because it's the content is so fucking good, but I don't want to be able to consume it in a day. Either drop it in quarters so that you lead me on, or make the episodes longer. It's just something where I can't watch all 10 in one sitting.
Yeah,
Please.
I'm really bad at that.
Trick standpoint, not from a
I should be studied in a psych lab.
right.
Yeah.
Right, man. I hope we get to the day where some sort of wearable technology comes out that we can just put on our heads and subtitles will appear. Mm-hmm. So
No,
that,
I hope that doesn't happen because
it'd be great.
the stuff that happens in here, no one else should know. You hear a lot, but that's not even.
imagine
half of
if
it.
instead of subtitles, it actually just projects in imagery.
That
We
would
just
be-
get to watch this murder scene occur.
That would be so much worse. Way worse.
That would be great because at least it'd be open for interpretation, right?
You'd
We-
see a
we
lot
get to watch the movie
of
of your
naked
head.
people, and not in a pleasant way.
A lot of buttholes.
Yeah.
A lot of buttholes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sticking a pin in this one. I can't do this all day.
Did we like Conrad's segment?
We
it was
did.
fun.
I liked
yeah, Why
it.
not?
What was the segment? This
Good
or
job,
that?
Conrad.
I'm not sure what we call that.
How did you present it?
It's called What's
One or
Cracking?
two.
One or two.
Perfect.
One or two.
This or that. That's way too well thought out. I went with one or two. One thing, two thing, blue thing, red thing.
A or B.
All right. So one last thing to close on. We do have the Poker Out Loud hand of the week. This week it is a hand that Landon plays versus Chris K in a 4-bet pot. That's the range that Landon's 4-betting from the low jack. The action that took place was he opened. Chris 3-bet from the small blind. He click 4-bet. There are 100 big blinds effective. We see a flop of Queen 3-5. Landon chooses quarter pot. And you need to tell us which hand of those hands in the purple Landon possesses. Go ahead and leave your guess on the Twitter thread or Instagram thread. And you, if you win, can win $30 off our merch store.
Get
Suits-
a nice shirt like this.
Yeah, nice shirt like what Brian's wearing. Little Poker Out Loud shirt.
Very
Little
nice.
swag.
Oh, look at that. That's fire.
Yeah, it looks good.
Suits are going to matter for this one. So make sure you're specific in your guesses because there aren't a lot of hands to choose from. So I'm gonna use suits as a tiebreaker this week. So get on out there and give us your guess. It's a free roll, you know? We're giving away free shit. Also, if you haven't watched this week's Poker Out Loud, it's up and live on solveforwhy.io. We'll also have a mastermind coming out in a couple weeks. And tomorrow, we are launching a new course built by Michael Lukic. We'll have a preview for that for you either tomorrow or early next week. But it's basically an introduction on how to use solvers. So for any of you out there who are feeling a little overwhelmed with the current technology that's available in the space, Lukic does a great job of giving you a 4-part series introducing you how to set up parameters and how to best utilize the market or the industry standard solvers that are available. If you want something more in depth, he actually just launched a course of his own. It's about 30 hours long as opposed to the 4 that he did for us. and it gets really into the weeds and how you can best calibrate and utilize solvers to your advantage. So be sure to check that out on our site tomorrow. If you're interested in his course, I think his site is michaellukic.io, but just Google it and it'll pop up otherwise. That's it for us. I think we'll see Chin here tomorrow. Hopefully he's feeling a little bit better. Otherwise, what's up?
Barbecue Friday.
Oh yeah, Barbecue Friday. Be sure to tune in for Brian's barbecue segment tomorrow. We're all pumped for getting some dry meats, not some wet meats. Save the wet meats for everybody else.
We'll see.
That's going to do it, guys. Thank you all for joining. Please like, subscribe. It helps the channel grow a ton. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Peace.
Later.